Welcome, weary traveler, to the end times. Not the end of the world, mind you, just the end of an era. The year is 2025, and for the first time in what feels like a millennium, the mighty unshakable empire of Call of Duty is wobbling? It's a miracle, a genuine "are you not entertained" moment, and frankly, we are all here with a bucket of popcorn ready for the Schadenfreude. After years of predictable success, the once invincible franchise seems to have a target painted squarely on its back, and for good reason. The vibes, as the kids say, are officially off. For a franchise that has dominated the gaming landscape for over 2 decades, the current atmosphere is one of profound exhaustion and discontent. The usual pre-launch excitement has been replaced with a collective sigh, a deep sense of a fan base that's just done. After a decade of running around with neon pink assault rifles like a blatant copy of Cyberpunk 2077, players have apparently remembered that military shooter can in fact feel militaristic. On the other hand of the playfield, you've got Battlefield 6 Open Beta. Basically a masterpiece of boots on the ground chaos. It has captivated the masses by simply doing what the genre used to do well. It's a return to the realistic military sims that once defined the early 2000s, with a visceral, gritty feel that harks back to classics like Battlefield 3, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and even old-school games like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. The game's immense popularity and the almost religious reaction to it have created a perfect storm of hype. It's a testament to the fact that sometimes all you need to do is listen to what players have been asking for. The collective sigh of relief from fans yearning for an era of tactical gameplay and grounded combat has translated into a torrent of online praise, making Battlefield 6 the unexpected hero of the holiday season. And in what can only be described as a public relations masterclass, Battlefield 6's design director Shashank Uchil delivered a line so logical it was practically a mic drop. When asked about the potential for silly cosmetics, he declared it has to be grounded. That is what BF3 and BF4 was. It was all soldiers on the ground. It's going to be like this. I don't think it needs Nicki Minaj. Let's keep it real, keep it grounded. This simple statement did more to rally the troops than a dozen cinematic trailers ever could. In one fell swoop, Uchil encapsulated the core fantasy of the series and directly and hilariously contrasted it with the current direction of its main competitor. Speaking of which, we have arrived at the main event, the Black Ops 7 gameplay reveal. It premiered under a dark cloud of fan cynicism, and somehow, like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat, made things even worse. The reaction on social media was swift and brutal. On YouTube, the trailer earned only 36,000 likes, making it one of the least liked reveal trailers in the franchise's history. Reddit forums and Discord channels were immediately filled with disillusioned players who had finally reached their breaking point, openly declaring they were done with the series. The trailer felt like a slap in the face to a fan base already on edge. It showed off a bizarre, sci-fi fueled world of dreamscapes and robots which felt entirely disconnected from the game's dark grounded military roots. What was meant to be a moment of triumph for Activision turned into a public relations disaster. And honestly, I think we've officially gone from the stoic, gritty realism of Rambo and John McClane to running around like Powerpuff Girls. The franchise has become a living, breathing IP sandbox, a bizarre crossover event that feels like a desperate grab for attention. The addition of American Dad and Beavis and Butthead cosmetics, among others, has blurred the line between a serious military shooter and a pop culture-infused fever dream. It's a move that many feel is turning the game into a direct competitor to Fortnite, a game famous for its wild and zany IP crossovers. But guys, this isn't Fortnite, with all due respect of course. It's a game that made its name on a sense of a grounded, realistic conflict. The presence of these wildly inappropriate skins shatters any illusion of immersion and turns the game into a chaotic, nonsensical mess. It's honestly a clear sign of a series that has prioritized revenue over creative integrity, and fans are not happy about being treated like walking wallets. So the question to which a lot of people have been asking themselves is, when did it start to go downhill? Well, the answer is little complicated. For as long as Call of Duty has been popular, there have been several people, and a lot of them, hating on it. But the real rot set in when the series stopped innovating and started copying. It looked at Fortnite's success and said,
Yeah, we can do that, but with more tactical vests and less fun.
The annual release schedule, which the franchise avoided for nearly 20 years, has led to a sense of sequel fatigue, with fans feeling like they're just getting the same game year after year with a few new bells and whistles. The core problem, however, is a basic disconnect. The series' initial success was built on a solid foundation, satisfying gameplay wrapped in a serious, believable narrative. But over time, that foundation has been eroded by a focus on microtransactions, battle passes, and a desperate desire to chase trends. It's honestly no longer about building a great game, it's about building a great monetization platform, and the quality of the game unfortunately has suffered as a result. And speaking of suffering, the trailer itself showed off wild, trippy gameplay involving
dream worlds and robots and strange sci-fi tech.
This is no longer a Black Ops game. This is the plot of an acid trip. It's a bold artistic direction to be sure, but bold only if your goal is to alienate your entire established fan base. Fans who were hoping for a return to the Cold War espionage themes of past titles were instead greeted with a fever dream of sci-fi cliches and nonsensical action. And instead of having a carefully crafted narrative, the game seems to be a collection of disconnected set pieces, designed more for viral clips and Twitch streams than for a cohesive and engaging player base. Unfortunately. When confronted with the question of silly skins, Associate Creative Director Miles Leslie gave a masterclass
In saying absolutely nothing.
He claimed that devs were always looking at community feedback and then proceeded to ramble on about calibrating future skins and making sure all fans feel represented. This was the verbal equivalent of a shrug emoji, a textbook nothing burger response that avoided the question entirely. And this response only added fuel to the fire when compared to the clear and direct answer given by the Battlefield 6 developer. Leslie's non-answer made it clear that the studios were either unwilling or unable to give fans a straight answer. And ultimately, it confirmed the worst fears of the community, that the developers were either out of touch or simply didn't care about the core values of the franchise. Fans are actively hoping for the competitor to win. They're willing to pay money to help Battlefield 6 succeed, not because they just want a good game, but because they want to punish Activision. It's a glorious moment of consumer activism, a middle finger delivered via pre-order button. This sentiment is so powerful that even former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra has weighed in, suggesting that the success of BFX will ultimately force Call of Duty to be better. Guys, this is a frustrated community we are talking about, and it's yearning for a course correction. They're not just looking for an alternative, they're looking for a statement. They want to show Activision that they won't stand for a yearly release of AI-produced slop and expensive cosmetics. It's a war being waged not with bullets, but with wallets. Now, the article calls it fan burnout, and it's certainly that. But it's also a wake-up call, a collective moment of clarity for a fan base that has been on a hamster wheel for years. Fans are honestly getting tired of the back-to-back direct sequels, the expensive cosmetics, and the feeling that no one is listening. The annual release schedule has left them feeling exhausted and unsatisfied, constantly chasing the next big thing without ever feeling like they've gotten a complete, fulfilling experience. But the burnout isn't just from the games themselves, it's from the entire ecosystem. The constant cycle of updates, patches, and battle passes has made the experiences feel less like a game and more like a second job. Players are tired of the grind and the constant pressure to keep up, and this year they finally have a compelling reason to step off the treadmill. The battlefield isn't just in the games anymore, it's between the players and the suits. The fans want grit, realism, and a game that takes itself seriously. They want a return to the classic formula that made them fall in love with the series in the first place. The boardroom, or the suits, or how we know them,
The greedy goblins
want crossover revenue, a broader appeal, and a game that can be as wacky and weird as possible to attract a younger and more naive audience. Now here is the problem though. These two visions are incompatible. One is about artistic integrity and player satisfaction. The other is about maximizing profit and chasing trends. The Black Ops 7 trailer is a perfect example of what happens when the boardroom's vision wins out, and the result is a game that feels disconnected and basically soulless. Now let's dial the notch down a bit and go back to former Blizzard's president Mike Ybarra's tweet about Battlefield 6 stomping Call of Duty this year. Many people saw it as a grim prediction, but Ybarra had an optimistic take on the matter. He followed up by saying,
But the real win here is Call of Duty won't be lazy anymore, and we'll get all better FPS games for it.
This sentiment highlights a fascinating dynamic. The success of a competitor could be the very thing that saves the franchise. In this view, Battlefield 6 is not a rival but a much needed catalyst. It's the proverbial slap in the face that will force Activision to reassess its strategy and finally start listening to its community. It suggests that a major loss in sales this holiday season, while painful for the company, could ultimately lead to a more player-focused and high-quality game in the future. But the article also states that it would be foolish to count Call of Duty out, and I agree with that statement. The franchise, as childish and cartoonish as it has gotten to, is still incredibly popular, especially with casual players who aren't on Reddit all day. In 2024, Black Ops 6 was still the best-selling premium game of the year in the US, and the overall franchise sold more games than any other series. It's a sales juggernaut, a Goliath that even a boot stomping can't truly bring it down. So if we really ask the question, who wins? It probably will be Call of Duty in terms of raw numbers, but at what cost to its soul? The financial success of the franchise doesn't change the fact that the vibes are rotten with this year's installment. It is a victory, but it's hollow. A testament to the power of marketing and brand recognition, but a clear sign that the developers have lost the trust of their most passionate fans. So where does the franchise go from here?
The article doesn't give a definitive answer, but the writing is on the wall. Either they listen to the fans and return to the grounded roots that made them famous, or they double down on the sci-fi dream world nonsense. The backlash has been so severe that ignoring it would be a critical mistake, but reversing course on a planned title is no easy task.
Pooh! This could be a pivotal moment for the series. Will it finally learn its lesson and return to the grit and realism that built its legacy, or will it continue down the path of over-the-top spectacle and microtransactions madness? The answer alone will determine not just the future of Black Ops, but the entire future of the Call of Duty franchise. Despite it all, there is a flicker of hope. The success of Battlefield 6 could be the kick in the pants that Activision needs. Maybe, just maybe, they'll stop making games for the board and start making them for the players. The current situation is a perfect storm of fan dissatisfaction and a compelling alternative, a rare alignment that could force the franchise to change for the better. The fans seem willing to help. By buying Battlefield 6, they are not just showing their support for a competitor, they are casting a vote for the type of games they want to see in the future. They are sending a clear message. The days of relying on brand loyalty and lazy design are over. The industry is changing and Call of Duty is either going to adapt or be left behind. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, grab your loved one, and together let's watch this magnificent train wreck unfold. Thank you guys for watching, and I am very curious as to your thoughts on the current Black Ops 7 game and the future of the Call of Duty franchise. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.